In the heart of the Scottish Highlands, a vast dark ribbon of water cuts through the ancient landscape. This is Loch Ness. Its surface, often placid and mirror-like, reflects the brooding mountains, the ever-changing sky. Yet beneath this serene facade lies a world of profound mystery. A chasm of peat-stained water so deep and so murky that sunlight penetrates only the first few meters. For centuries, this enigmatic loch has been the cradle of a legend, a story whispered from one generation to the next. The power of the Nessie legend is built not on ancient myths alone, but on the compelling testimony of modern eyewitnesses. These are often ordinary people going about their day who suddenly find themselves confronted by something utterly extraordinary. In 1960, Tim Dinsdale, an aeronautical engineer, captured one of the most famous pieces of film. From a hillside, he recorded a dark hump moving purposefully across the water. It left a prominent V-shaped wake behind it. The footage was analysed by the Royal Air Force Photographic Interpretation Unit, which concluded the object was probably animate. Dinsdale dedicated the rest of his life to proving what he'd seen. Another account comes from local skipper Alan McKenna, longtime captain of the Nessie Hunter. He speaks not of monsters, but of inexplicable encounters. Perhaps no single piece of evidence is more famous or more infamous than the surgeon's photograph. Published in the Daily Mail in 1934, it appeared to show the head, the long neck of a creature rising elegantly from the water. The photographer was Lieutenant Colonel Robert Kenneth Wilson, a respected London surgeon, lending the image an immediate air of credibility. For 60 years, this photograph was the definitive image of Nessie, the icon of the mystery. In 1994, on his deathbed, a man named Christian Spurling confessed his role in an elaborate hoax. The plot was masterminded by Marmaduke Wetherell. He had been publicly humiliated after his discovery of Nessie footprints was revealed to be a prank made with a dried hippopotamus foot. Seeking revenge, Wetherell, his son, Spurling, they constructed the monster from a toy submarine. They used sculpted plastic wood. They then enlisted the respectable Dr. Wilson to be the face of their deception. If eyewitness accounts are the heart of the Nessie legend, then scientific investigation is its brain, attempting to bring logic and data to a world of myth. As technology advanced, monster hunters turned from binoculars to sonar, the electronic eyes and ears that could peer into the opaque, peaty depths. One of the most significant early efforts was the Loch Ness Investigation Bureau of the 1960s, which deployed fleets of boats equipped with sonar equipment. They recorded several tantalizing contacts, echoes that bounced back from large, moving objects in mid-water, far from the bottom or the surface. These objects appeared to dive to avoid the boats, displaying an awareness that suggested they were living creatures. The 1970s brought even more sophisticated technology, led by Dr. Robert Rines and the Academy of Applied Science. In the 21st century, the search for Nessie took a revolutionary turn, moving from sonar to the very building blocks of life itself. In 2018, a team of international scientists, led by Professor Neil Gemmell of the University of Otago, conducted the most comprehensive survey of life in Loch Ness ever attempted. They did not hunt for a monster with boats and cameras. Instead, they hunted for its genetic shadow. The team collected hundreds of water samples from various locations and depths throughout the loch, filtering them to capture fragments of environmental DNA, or eDNA. Skin, scales, feces, urine that all living creatures leave behind in their environment. By sequencing this eDNA, the scientists could create a complete census of all the species living within Loch Ness. The team meticulously analyzed billions of DNA sequences they collected, comparing them against a vast global database of known species. The results, announced in 2019, were both fascinating and, for many believers, disappointing. The scientists found no DNA from any large, unknown reptile. For every eyewitness account, there is a sober scientific counter-explanation. Skeptics argue the Loch Ness monster is not zoological, but psychological. It's rooted in our desire to believe the fantastic and our brain's tendency to misinterpret the unfamiliar. Most sightings can be explained by known animals. Otters, as common in the region, often swim in a line. Their rising and diving can look like a multi-humped creature. Swimming deer, head and neck visible, can create a convincing monster illusion. The loch is a master of deception. Deep, dark waters and calm surfaces create strange visual effects. Wind slicks or seeches make wave patterns like the wake of a large object. Mats of rotting vegetation can rise as dark humps, then sink back into the depths. A floating log in the right light can appear animate. Hoaxes have also played a damaging role. Fame and money have tempted many to fake evidence, from doctored photos to staged props and outright fabrications. Ultimately, the strongest argument is biological. Loch Ness is cold and nutrient-poor. It doesn't contain enough food to sustain a large predator, let alone a breeding population. After decades of searching after sonar scans, DNA tests, countless photographs, videos, we are left with a fascinating paradox. We have no definitive physical proof of the Loch Ness monster's existence. No body, no bones, no undisputed photograph. The most compelling scientific survey to date, the eDNA study, found no trace of a monster. The most famous piece of evidence was revealed to be a clever hoax. From a purely rational scientific perspective, the case for Nessie appears to be incredibly weak. Misidentifications, wishful thinking, outright fabrications, and yet the mystery does not die. It persists in the sincere, baffled accounts of eyewitnesses, in the strange blips on sonar screens, the grainy films that defy easy explanation, and the tantalizing possibility of a giant eel lurking in the depths. Professor Gemmell noted the large quantity of eel DNA. He playfully hypothesized that perhaps the monster could be a giant European eel. While eels can grow large, one big enough to explain dramatic sightings would be unprecedented. The legend of Nessie taps into something deep within the human psyche, our fascination with the unknown, our hope that the world still contains wonders beyond the scope of our maps and encyclopedias. Or in that immense unexplored blackness, could something ancient and unknown have truly survived, eluding our science and our senses? Could there be one last great secret waiting patiently in the deep? After all is said and done, what's facts or fiction one may never know.